Hey there, and welcome back to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're really diving into something critical and, frankly, constantly changing: social engineering and phishing attacks.
Yeah, it feels like it's evolving almost daily.
We've got a whole range of sources in front of us, reports from security firms, academic research, and they all seem to point to one thing pretty clearly.
What's that?
It's not just about hacking systems anymore, it's really about targeting people, you.
Exactly. And that's our mission for this deep dive, right? To get past the surface level stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We want to pull out what these sources are really saying about the psychology, like why these attacks work,
Okay.
and look at the newer tactics, especially, with AI getting involved.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And then most importantly, lay out some clear practical defense strategies based on what this material tells us.
Right, because, I mean, the sources really hammer this home.
Mm-hmm.
You can have the best digital defenses, the best firewalls,
Yep.
but often the easiest way in for an attacker is just tricking a person. One click.
One moment of not quite paying attention.
And the potential damage is huge. And like you said, it's moved way beyond those really obvious, badly spelled emails we used to laugh at.
Oh, miles beyond. The
Okay.
level of sophistication now can be, well, disturbing.
So you mentioned the psychology. It feels like social engineering is almost like bypassing the tech security altogether.
That's a great way to put it. It's exploiting human nature, our wiring. It's essentially a manipulation game
Okay.
designed to play on trust
Yeah.
and how we make decisions, especially when we feel pressured.
So let's dig into that. Why are we so susceptible? I mean, the sources talk about attackers hitting our core instincts.
Well, it works because it taps into things that are just deeply human. We're kind of built to trust, especially things that look legitimate or familiar
Right.
or authoritative. Attackers leverage that default trust before our critical thinking really kicks in.
And once they have that little bit of trust, the sources say they use specific psychological levers
Hmm.
to push us.
Absolutely. The research we looked at consistently points to, well, maybe four main ones. We see authority, urgency, fear, and greed come up again and again.
Authority seems pretty straightforward, pretending to be the boss or something like that.
Yes, but it's often more subtle than just the CEO, according to these sources.
No.
It's about impersonating someone with perceived authority for that specific request.
Okay. Like where?
Could be a finance manager, could be someone from IT security demanding you do something critical.
Hmm.
One report highlighted emails pretending to be senior managers asking for urgent wire transfers or sensitive info.
Mhm.
Those had much higher success rates. It plays on that hierarchy, that feeling that you should comply quickly.
Okay, and urgency, that's just adding time pressure, making you feel like you have to act now.
Precisely. It's designed to short-circuit your rational thought. Create a bit of panic, maybe.
Yeah.
That feeling that if you delay, something bad happens. Your account will be closed in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Or urgent action needed.
Right, those subject lines.
Yeah. One study actually tracked phishing campaigns and found the ones with strong urgency triggers. They got double the click-through rate compared to similar emails without that pressure. It forces a quick, maybe careless decision.
And fear. That's a powerful one. Nobody wants their accounts breached or whatever.
Incredibly effective.
Yeah.
It creates anxiety about loss or harm, like a fake data breach alert or a threat of legal action, maybe a virus warning.
Mm-hmm.
A really common one highlighted is, your personal info has been compromised. Click here now. It just preys on that basic instinct to protect yourself.
And the last one, greed. The promise of something good.
Exactly. Tapping into that desire for gain. A fake refund, a lottery win, a free gift, maybe a too-good-to-be-true job offer.
Like claim your unclaimed funds.
Classic example. Or you've won a free trip. And while it might seem less threatening than fear, the sources show it's still very effective. It leverages optimism, maybe. The hope for an easy win.
What strikes me, looking across these sources, is how well these techniques are hidden. They're woven into messages that look almost normal.
That's the challenge, isn't it? Spotting the subtle signs when everything is designed not to look suspicious.
Yeah.
And that's the big leap attackers have made, relying on spotting obvious typos. That's largely out the window now.
Because the quality has improved so much.
Massively. Especially, as the sources point out, with tools like AI helping them craft much more convincing fakes.
Okay, so this brings us to the latest tactics. This is where it gets, well, pretty interesting and maybe a bit scary. URL spoofing. Let's start there.
Right, URL spoofing. It sounds technical, but the idea is simple. Create a web address that looks almost identical to a real one.
How do they do that?
They might swap similar-looking characters, like a lowercase l for the number 1, Or add tiny extra characters you barely notice. Or use subdomains in clever ways.
So you think you're clicking on your bank's link?
Exactly. The URL in the address bar looks right at first glance, but it's actually taking you to their fake site to steal your login details. One source even mentioned homograph attacks, using special characters that look identical to standard letters.
Wow, okay. So check the address bar very carefully. What about link manipulation? That sounds similar.
It's related, but slightly different. This is where the text you see for a link says one thing, but the underlying web address it points to is something else entirely.
Like the classic, click here.
Exactly. The text might say, view invoice details. Sounds harmless. But the hidden link actually goes to malware or a phishing page. You really have to hover your mouse over the link without clicking to see the real destination URL pop up somewhere.
And even then, they're getting better at making those look plausible too.
They are, unfortunately.
Okay, link shortening. We all use services like bit.ly. That's a risk too.
It definitely can be. Super useful for sharing, obviously, but attackers love them because they totally hide the real destination URL.
Right.
You see a short, maybe trustworthy looking link, click it, and, well, you don't know where you're going until it's potentially too late. The sources are clear. Be very cautious with shortened links from people you don't know or weren't expecting.
Use a preview tool, maybe.
Yeah, if you have one, or just avoid clicking if unsure.
Okay, this next one. One report called it something that challenges your perception of reality. AI voice spoofing.
This is, a really significant development. Several sources highlighted this.
How does it work?
Attackers use AI to clone voices. They only need a short audio sample, maybe from a social media video, a voicemail.
Oh, wow.
Then they can generate new audio that sounds exactly like your boss, your parent, your kid, a friend.
So they could call you.
They call you, sounding perfectly like someone you trust, usually with some urgent plea, I'm in trouble, I need money wired now, or I need this confidential file immediately.
That directly uses urgency and authority, or fear.
All of them.
Yeah.
It hits your emotional connection. It's incredibly hard to doubt someone who sounds exactly like a loved one in distress, and it completely bypasses email filters.
That really underscores the point, doesn't it? Awareness isn't just a nice to have anymore.
It's becoming absolutely essential. The sources are unanimous on this. The human is the target, but the human is also the best defense.
Right.
Training yourself to recognize the psychological tricks, understand the newer technical tactics like fake URLs or cloned voices. That's the foundation. Just knowing how they do it makes you much more likely to pause and spot it.
So education first, but beyond just knowing, what practical habits do the sources recommend? What can you do consistently?
Well, several key things come up repeatedly. First, just cultivating a healthy skepticism, especially for any unexpected message asking for sensitive info, money, or immediate action.
So don't click, don't open attachments if it feels off.
Basically, yeah. Avoid engaging if you're suspicious.
But what if it looks real? Say an email that seems like it's from your boss or a call that sounds like family.
Okay, this is probably the single most important piece of advice from these sources. Verify the request, always, but use a different communication channel. Meaning, don't just hit reply to the suspicious email. Don't call back the number they called from or gave you in the message. Instead, use a known, trusted contact method. Look up their official phone number, call them on a number you already have saved, text them if that's normal, or, walk over to their desk if possible.
That breaks the chain.
Exactly. It steps outside the attacker's control.
Okay, so verify independently. And the sources also mention just slowing down, taking a pause.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They talk about the power of the pause. Attackers want you to react instantly under pressure.
Right, the urgency thing again.
Yeah. So if a message feels urgent or weird or makes you feel a strong emotion, fear, excitement, panic train yourself to just stop, breathe.
Let the rational brain catch up.
Precisely. Ask yourself, hang on, does this actually make sense? Should I check this out first? That pause is a powerful defense.
And then there are technical controls like multi-factor authentication, MFA. That helps too.
Critically important, yes.
Yeah.
MFA adds that extra security layer. So even if you do accidentally give up your password.
Which can happen.
It can, but MFA often stops the attacker anyway because they don't have that second factor like the code sent to your phone or an authenticator app. It's a crucial safety net.
Okay. And lastly, reporting suspicious stuff. Making it easy for people to flag things.
Very important. The sources stress that quick reporting helps everyone. If you see a weird email, get a strange call, notice an odd pop-up reported immediately through whatever trusted channel your organization or even just your family has set up.
Because your report might stop someone else falling for it.
Exactly. It's an early warning system.
So putting it all together, it's like building layers. You start with understanding the psychology, then add habits like verifying and pausing, back it up with tech like MFA, and create a culture of reporting.
That's a great summary. It's about building that human firewall. The data clearly shows attackers go after human behavior because it often seems easier than breaking through complex tech defenses.
Right.
So by understanding their game and adopting these practices that the sources lay out, you make yourself and those around you a much, much harder target.
So the big message for you listening is, these threats are definitely real, they are getting smarter, and yes, they are targeting you, the person behind the keyboard or phone.
And the takeaway from all this material we've gone through is that your awareness, your proactive habits, they are genuinely your most powerful weapons. Training yourself, training others, learning to spot those psychological tells, and just getting into the habit of verifying things.
Mm.
It's paramount.
Couldn't agree more. Awareness and verification seems simple, but incredibly effective.
It really is. And maybe here's a final thought to chew on, something to consider as you go about your day online.
Okay.
If we know the most sophisticated attacks really target human psychology, our behaviors, our trust, what could we learn from fields completely outside cybersecurity?
Like what?
Maybe behavioral economics, or studies on communication, how trust is built and broken. Could insights from those areas give us completely new angles, new ways to build defenses against whatever social engineering tricks come next?
Huh. Yeah, that's a really interesting question to think about.